presented by EA Sports and the PGA Tour. This is Rich Lerner alongside my colleague Frank Novelo for EA Sports, and we will be calling all the action for today's event.
Rich, I'm armed and ready. Are you?
I am. Battle gear on. Let's get it going. We have a couple of 100 yards to this flagstick. Just about 200 yards to the flagstick from the tee box.
Yeah, Rory's like a car that just has an extra gear. You know, if you've got five-speed gearbox, Rory's got 6. If you've got a 6-speed gearbox, he's got 7.
He's the souped-up Ferrari or Lamborghini. He can go. He's Formula One. Into the tall cabbage. That ball is swallowed up. Second shot coming out of the rough here. Well, that's what the great ones do. From the rough, they use their skill and their strength to get it out and get it close. Even par early on. Now to the second hole, Frank, and just a look here. This green is clearly very heavily guarded.
Yeah, you notice that guard shack on the right there? Well, you better keep your head down because we're not sure whether or not that guard shack is actually empty.
Be a dangerous shot here at the second.
And left, trees, a little bit of sand. There is the bridge as well. Oh, nice strike, Rich. Not quite directly in line with the flag.
Just drifting a bit to the right, but he'll settle. He's knocked it on the green, but not in a great position. This is a difficult chance coming up here. Long birdie try. So a long putt there and just didn't read it quite right. Settles in over the putt. Par for McIlroy, but you're just waiting for that moment when he hits that accelerator and pulls away.
So this is an interesting tee shot as that destroyer continues to burn.
Amazing that play still continues. So the shot has landed. I'm not sure if it's on the mulch or in the mulch. Either way, it's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a shot you left.
That is always so disappointing from that kind of a spot when you come up short.
Yeah, you're licking your chops over that one. A shot you think you could hit directly at the flag. Now, test for the short game.
Frank, not close, but from that lie, not bad.
Oh, that's excellent. Seriously, given the conditions, Rich.
14 feet to the hole. So that was a medium-length putt. Speed was right on track, but the read wasn't where it needed to be. So, 2 over par for the round. Frank, here at the fourth, there's an awful lot going on.
There certainly is. Solar panels, radar tower is up and ready to go, so it will confirm the landing on the other side if it's successful. This rather long par 3 around the 230-yard mark, so this is going to be all carry. Got to land that ball on the green. It will not run through that beach area. And, of course, the trees and the palm trees all the way around. If this isn't flighted properly, it will not find the destination.
Seems like too much for just one man. This looks like a job for an entire flight crew, Frank.
Well, Rich, we should dig ourselves a trench and see what happens.
Okay, good shot on the dance floor. Sitting right now at 2 over par for the round. Rolls in the par putt, stays at +2. Frank, you and I have called golf from around the world. In fact, we had our broadcast position in the Grand Canyon in a hot air balloon. Tell you what, I'm glad we didn't pick that spot to broadcast from. That would have been lights out early.
It would have, but I don't even know if our observation tower that was situated in is going to be safe. Already the destroyers come and hit the land. And, of course, the fifth hole, this par 3, at just over 200 yards. That should be rather interesting, but hopefully we'll be safe. Let's batten down the hatches while we watch the tee shot.
And getting ready for the putt. Sinks it.
Unbelievable.
Up to the 6th tee, Frank, and we're back against that destroyer. You need to take it over that small island.
Yeah, this is a little village too. And remember the double greens at St. Andrews? Well, this is a split double green. It's shared in amongst the village. The green on the right, very, very small. So this a very lengthy par 3. It's going to be a case of really ready aim driver for some.
Good news is, Frank, you can see the golf ball. I guess the bad news is that's kind of an uncertain lie in that mulch.
Yeah, there's nothing really good about that. You'd rather it be in the rough.
Not a gimme, but well within his range. So frustrating sometimes on the greens, isn't it? Drop shot here at the 6th. Clean this up with a tap. Well, he has that for bogey, and I can't help but think that the double bogey back on the 3rd hole seems to have really shaken his confidence. Frank, this one's not looking good.
Yeah, it's certainly not down the fairway line, heading toward the rough.
You have to think he'll be happy with that, given that it looked like it was headed right for the rough.
Yeah, it looked like that was the only place it was going to finish. But, well, it's a little bit unexplainable. Let's see what he does from here now. Lucky break.
Starting to climb back at +2. Now to the 8th hole, Frank, you really just need to follow the trail down to the green here at Paracel Storm.
Barracks are probably the biggest problem in front of you. They're just short and left of this par 3 green. For the very observant, though, they'll notice a little one-on-one, perhaps a little basketball court just along the left side.
Little three-point shooting contest, you and I later on.
This is a par 3. Second shot.
Frank, it hit the green, but just didn't have enough backspin.
Yeah, you wonder what he was thinking on that.
Set to go. Not an easy shot by any means. Coming out of the rough and right up next to the hole. Frank, he needs to right the ship in a hurry. That's a bogey right there.
Well, he's got to sort of wipe the memory banks too. He's still dwelling, I think, on that double bogey he made back there earlier in the round, and you know, that's carried over into this, and it's affecting the way in which he's playing. Well, that's a little absurd, that, Rich. That shot wasn't that hard, but it's come up well short.
Didn't appear committed through impact. Now on the green, has about 10 feet left there to save par. Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. Routine stuff for Rory, that's a par. It's the start of the back nine mission. Rich Lerner for EA Sports, along with my partner Frank Nobilo. Frank, tell us a little bit about the 10th.
A very civilized par 3, Rich. This is the more populated part of the island. just over 150 yards, which makes it reachable for anybody. Just a short iron coming in. You're going to need a short iron too, because that flag today on the left, tucked behind those palm trees, well away from the beach.
Frank, so many different lies in golf. This is one you don't see too much. The golf ball is on the mulch.
Yeah, and it never really sits up, so this is one of those ones you've got to be much more conservative than you'd like to be. Play for the fat of the green.
Oh my goodness, he just made that. I cannot believe it.
I was thinking he might get it close, and just a great shot.
The 11th hole here at Paracel Storm, now a military playground. Frank, certainly the players are thankful, having traded the guns for golf clubs. Good time out there so far.
A little bit of an obstacle course, though, here at 11. You can see the weather vanes that adorn the right side of this hole. Tee shot has to be played across that seawall. So once again, all carry. And let's see if he can land softly on the other side.
No way. He holed it, Frank.
Great pitch shot.
Up to the 12th, making a trip across to an island green, Frank.
It looks more like a shipwreck island. And that's an evil place to put the green on that side. Very well defended by that rock wall as well as the water. And of course, anything short, those big rocks that protect this green. This is probably the most heavily guarded par 3 on the golf course.
Make bogey or worse here, they might strand you out there. Into the thick stuff, that's a difficult lie. Second shot from the rough. It's on the way.
I mean, this skill, and that was sublime.
Just good hands, coming out of the rough, able to manage the distance, and now in great position. Oh, I thought he had that. Oh, man.
Just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. That's another bogey now at 3 over for the day. Going right back to the large island here at the 13th, Frank.
Trenches behind will certainly protect anything that goes a little bit long. Left of this green, you better call in the Navy.
And Frank, that steady play continues.
Rock solid. Excellent approach shot.
Been pretty good all day from this distance, just trying to take care of business. Hasn't been easy, but he'll take it. That's a par. 3 over for the day. Frank, this looks like a green where if things didn't go well, you might find yourself just walking around in a bit of a haze, maybe talking to an old volleyball that washed ashore.
It's almost like a booby trap, Rich. It looks way too easy after some of the other holes we've seen. I've got this sort of sneaking suspicion there's something out there. It just looks like a green, just perched up there with very little trouble around. That's got me thinking there might just be something out there.
Well, Frank, this is where a golf club may not be good enough. You might need a shovel here.
Oh, this is going to take some sort of digging.
Good effort and a good par putt. Frank, in any war zone, the element of surprise is always so critical, and we see that here at the 15th.
Yeah, this green is fortified by the jungle that surrounds it, and just a little feature that you often don't see on a golf course. It's not a bunker in the middle of that green, just a mini forest.
Just a little short shot here. I mean, that's how the game is played, right there.
He's just making it look so easy. That birdie coming up, formality.
Just a little tap in here. So with that, they're trying to fight back, now at 2 over.
And just take a look out at the battleships burning, the solar panels, the bridges, the barracks.
You know you're not at your dad's country club anymore.
And this will be fine, just a little left of the flag.
Superb shot.
Well, that's as good as it's going to get. There's going to be no worries about making that one.
One over for the day. 17th hole now at Paracel Storm. And Frank, as we come toward the end of this round, you really want to salute the caddies as well as the players.
That's right. They've gone out there with meal packs today and canteens to make sure that there's the right amount of sustenance. But if you're looking for victory, then a strong finish is needed. Good chance for a birdie here at 17. You've got to traverse, obviously, the water there, and without the help of the Navy today, this is going to have to come in nice and high and soft, a little bit like a paratrooper coming in down there to avoid all those trees and palm trees that protect the front and the right side of this par 3.
Well, that was a good-looking putt, just not falling right now.
No, sadly, he's going to be disappointed.
Trying to move on with a par in his pocket. All right, no damage done. Stays at 1 over par with that putt. Now the finishing hole, Frank, and just a spectacular-looking hole.
Yeah, chance to complete our mission should we succeed here at 18. If anything, you want to keep the ball a little left of the flag. Otherwise, we're off the beach. You know, this is not heading in the right direction.
No, it looks like it's going to be in the rough. Frank, what's ahead after missing the par 3 here?
Well, a tricky little shot coming up, but really this is a difficult par 3. So if you can get this up and down, it still won't be a lost cause.
Well, that's what the great ones do. From the rough, they use their skill and their strength to get it out and get it close. Par for McIlroy, but you're just waiting for that moment when he hits that accelerator and pulls away. EA Sports is proud to present PGA Tour coverage. Today we're here at Paracel Storm, located in the South China Sea. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo for EA Sports, set to bring you all the action out on the course. Frank, looks like a bit of a war zone out there.
Interesting layout, Rich. 18 par 3s ahead of us, and well, we're going to have to negotiate ourselves around there, hopefully with radio control, and we can fire when we're ready.
One of the most unusual courses in the world. Players hitting across islands, over buildings, and off an aircraft carrier. You couldn't ask for much more.
This is not for the faint of heart.
Look out left.
And there's rough over there.
And into the thicker stuff.
Let's see if he can bludgeon this one out.
This requires a lot of speed through the ball. Very nicely done, right on the dance floor. Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. Just has the feel today. Now to the second hole, Frank, and just a look here. This green is clearly very...
That guard shack on the right there, well, you better keep your head down because we're not sure whether or not that guard shack is actually empty.
Could be a dangerous shot here at the second.
And left, trees, a little bit of sand. There is the bridge as well.
That looked like a miss hit, Frank.
The lie was okay. It's a little surprising. maybe wrong club.
Second shot coming out of the rough here.
Even par currently.
Still playing even for the day after the par.
A little bit of guesstimation required here. We'll radio in the yardage. 216 yards to the middle of the green, and you've got to carry the destroyer. So this has to come down from quite a bit of height. Wind a little off the left.
Needless to say, tough defense setup around this green.
Yeah, well protected.
This is a good-looking shot. Getting set for this next shot from the rough, what does the player need to be careful of here, Frank?
Well, this is where we're going to see exactly how good they are because, you know, that's not exactly the best lie, but it's sort of doable if you know what you're doing.
How about that shot right there from that lie in the rough to knock it that close? That's good. Even par early on. I mean, think about what you're saying here. I've called golf with you for a long time, Frank, and at bunkers and water hazards. You're talking about solar panels and guard towers. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm starting to go crazy calling this game, Rich. Might have to go into solitary if this keeps up. Whoop, this is taken off on a weird line.
And it's going to be in the rough, it looks like. Into the tall cabbage. That ball is swallowed up.
Rich, with a lie like that on the rough, you're going to get too much grass between club face and ball. You're going to have to adjust for that and at least take a club or two more.
That is a tremendous shot right there. Touch and nerve. He had it all, and he has the bottom of the barrel. Now the par 3 fifth, and Frank, what can you tell us about this hole?
This green is guarded by the burning destroyer on the left, but that beach area on the right, you're going to need scuba gear if you go on there, so no chance really of making par or getting that ball up and down. Palm trees on the left side of the screen. There is a nice little avenue, but if you're creative, a nice little draw here would be perfect. Remember, out of the rough, expect the ball to jump forward a little bit.
Wow, what a shot. Doesn't even need the putter. Now up to the 6th tee. We're back against that destroyer. Frank, you need to take it over that small island?
Yeah, once again, you're going to have to pick a very good target in the distance. Now, we know the shared greens at St. Andrews. Well, this is actually a shared green just cut by that little sand path that goes through the middle. This green is shared with the 8th, but still, this is a long par 3, and for some people out there, it'll be a case of ready, aim, and driver.
Continuing his fine play. Another beautiful approach shot.
You know what's better than 2 birdies in a row?
What's that?
3. That's what he's going for.
That's a turkey in bowling, isn't it?
He's no turkey.
Well, there's an opportunity wasted.
Just knocking him for a par, and let's forget about this one. Golf is not about perfect, but it's going to hurt the cause.
Frank, I don't know if it's legal, but a player might want to get a detailed map from high overhead, maybe from a bomber squadron flying by, just to get an idea of what they're navigating on this hole.
Well, if you can't call one in, you can always go up one of those lookout towers and maybe get a good surveillance of the hole, or even the wind direction. It's not overly long, just under 160 yards. Green sets up nicely, though, directly aiming at the player at the tee.
Wow, Frank, he is dialed in.
Yeah, that was just some shot on there. Easy birdie.
That's a 3rd birdie on the day. Now at the 8th here at Paracel Storm, this is a relatively short hole, but if you notice off to the left, Frank, there is a basketball court, and that allows me the chance to say, from way downtown, yes!
Well, if you miss this green, you might be able to sign up too. There's plenty of barracks. You can just take a left turn, go into there and enlist. But if you want to keep playing, par 3, under 200 yards, and see if you can safely get on deck.
This one just requires a little bit of focus. Rolling, rolling, rolling the rock, Frank.
Oh, and yet another birdie, Rich. Beautiful stroke.
Frank, it's been a real battle out here so far on the front 9. Let's finish it off in style here.
There's a great view just slightly right of the 9th green. Look out. Now, that's full of people. You might get the appropriate applause, maybe even a standing ovation. at least a salute. 150 yards approximately to that flag, but you have to be precise. And let's see how precise you can be.
Boy, this would be nice, Frank. I mean, you talk about jump-starting a round. If he were to make another birdie, boy, he'd really have it going in the right direction.
You can sort of feel it too. People around there know. I've seen the birdies to this point.
Start of the back nine mission, Rich Lerner for EA Sports with my partner Frank Novelo. Frank, tell us a little bit about the 10th. Good scoring opportunity right here from 125 yards or so. That should be pretty good right there. On the safe side. Oh, can't hide the flagstick from that man. Just 5 feet left. Well, this is impressive now. 6 under par and 2 straight birdies. The 11th hole here at Paracel Storm in the South China Sea. What a day it's been playing through these wrecked battleships with all of the obstacles out there. You see the windmills, and now just a short shot, Frank. This won't hurt him, Frank.
Just a little left of the flag. That's fine.
Just an excellent shot right there. About 5 feet away. Good chance. How about this? This would be a 5th consecutive birdie.
That's not fair. It's not fair.
On fire right now. 7 under par.
Rich, this hole really should be called Shipwreck, that little lone island sitting out there, protected by the boulders in front, and, well, just enough room, really, for this green and the tee for the next hole.
241 yards, Frank. This island green makes 17 at TPC Sawgrass look like putt-putt. Wow, way to the right here.
And there's rough over there.
In the thick stuff.
Thick? It's brutal out there.
Second shot coming out of the rough here. Pretty good shot right there. Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Going right back to the large island here at the 13th, Frank.
Trenches behind will certainly protect anything that goes a little bit long. Left of this green, you better call in the Navy.
Well, it looks as though they're going to need to use all their strength to sort of hack it out of that rough, missing it off the tee here. Frank had hit the green, but just didn't have enough backspin.
Yeah, you wonder what he's thinking on that. If you hit enough shots, every now and again, one's going to go in.
Crazy, crazy game. Frank, here at the 14th, not a long hole, but not a big green either.
It almost lulls you into that false sense of security. You just see the green, it stands up like an old sand dune. The beach around doesn't seem to be that problematic. A few trees behind, really, they just give you a nice line. But beware of what looks straightforward.
Looks sort of like a deserted island, Frank. That will be a great look at birdie. And getting ready for the putt. Ooh, so close. Oh, man.
I just pushed it.
Boy, that hurts. Just a couple of feet. Routine stuff for Rory. That's a par. Now to the 15th, and Frank, where exactly is the green here?
Well, I think you need the Jungle Book to try and decipher this one. A little short par 3 up and over there. There is a green in amongst that jungle, and even the green has its own little mini jungle in it.
This is one of my favorite holes on this golf course. Well, that is an exceptional shot on the green and in position for a birdie.
Yeah, that's a formality now.
Rory McIlroy looking to take advantage with this putt. In for birdie. 16th hole now, Frank, here at Paracel Storm. 153 yards. Little breeze here. This might be time for a nice low tracer.
Yeah, if you're running out of gas, you can always use the solar panels just to recharge. Green perched out. Boulders to the right, beach to the right. And the bridge, You can always walk the plank later. Let's get this one safely on deck.
He's making the game look very simple right now. See it, hit it, and he's got it right on track. Well, there's impressive, and then there's mind-boggling. We're at mind-boggling now. 10 under par. Coming to the end of this battle, now at the 17th hole, Frank.
Yeah, the penultimate hole. Par 3. We've got to walk across the bridge to get there. And it looks relatively benign at the moment. I've seen a lot of things pop up. The Destroyer is a great reminder of that. Hole is under 200 yards, so within reach. But we've got to once again parachute in all the trouble to the front and the right side of this green. Ball has to be hit nice and high. I mean, this skill, and that was sublime.
Just good hands, coming out of the rough, able to manage the distance, and now in great position. Boy, that hurts right there, Frank.
Yeah, he's got to knuckle down now, though, because, you know, we've seen it before, Rich. 2 putts turn into 3, 4. So make sure you can limit the damage here.
9 under for the round. Now the finishing hole, Frank, and just a spectacular looking hole.
Yeah, chance to complete our mission should we succeed here at 18. If anything, you want to keep the ball a little left of the flag. Otherwise, we're off the beach.
Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the green. Great way to finish off the final approach shot with a birdie opportunity. Shouldn't be a problem here. That's a birdie for McIlroy. He is just so explosive. Frank, solid effort today. What's your assessment?
Golf like that can certainly result in wins, that's for sure. But more importantly, the opportunity to get one.
This is EA Sports coverage of the PGA Tour. Located in Charlotte, North Carolina, Quail Hollow was originally designed by the architect George Cobb back in 1961. And Frank, it features one of the most imposing finishing stretches on tour. They call it the Green Mile.
Yeah, 16, 17, and 18. What a great test and a wonderful way to finish this golf course. It has a nice flow to it. Anytime you're in the Carolinas, all these mature trees that really define the fairways. Everything's in front of you. Some greens with certainly a lot of pace out there. You tested every club in the bag. This is a great golf course.
So that ball nestles down in the rough. Just got away a little bit on that tee ball. Shot now from the rough. Frank, what's he facing?
Well, the lie first and foremost. If it's sitting down, then obviously you're not going to get a very good contact. Nothing wrong with coming up a little bit short of the green. Problem is turning one mistake into another.
Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. One under early in the round. Teeing it up here at the second hole, Frank, it's a short par 3.
Yeah, it plays a little bit downhill, about half a club, Rich. There's a sort of shallow bunker in that back area, and also that green starts to reduce in size on the left side. Good par 3.
So off the tee here at the par 3, not his best stuff, but still a chance to make the 3.
Yeah, that was a poor miss off the tee. See if he can redeem himself.
And Frank, that steady play continues.
Rock solid. Excellent approach shot.
Did the job right there. Moving on to the 3rd hole now. It's a par 4, 452 yards.
Big sweeping dogleg left, and the fairway actually goes in the opposite direction of the dogleg. Must hit a good tee shot for 2 reasons. One, to find the fairway, and also the length of this hole, over 450 yards.
And into the thicker stuff.
Let's see if he can bludgeon this one out.
He'll need to be strong with this. So from the rough back to the fairway, that's the right way to go.
Yeah, didn't take the bait, and at least now he's only going to play the price of a poor tee shot. Still got a good chance, though, getting away with par.
Eight-foot putt here. Not used to seeing that. Going to drop a shot at the 3rd. Well, not going to make par here. He needs this to only give up 1. So with that, the score is now at even par. Frank, this is a muscular par 4 here at just under 490 yards. The 4th at Quail Hollow, a difficult proposition.
It is, but fortunately that tee shot plays a little downhill. But one of the difficulties with the tee shot is the fairway kicks from right to left. So it needs a good one to keep it on the fairway, and another green that has 3 different levels.
Let's see what McIlroy does now with his 2nd.
Should be safely on deck.
Really good distance control there, playing well to his strengths. Not a gimme, but well within his range. Two's always better than 1 when you count birdies in golf. Frank, in today's modern game where players are hitting it so far, I always feel like one of the more exciting holes is a reachable par 5, and here we are at the 5th, 570 yards.
Yeah, this is reachable providing you hit a good drive. Otherwise, it becomes very awkward on the layup. You know, sort of often threading the ball out of trees and just trying to find some sort of 3rd shot. So to your point, big advantage with a good tee shot here.
Good news is, Frank, you can see the golf ball. I guess the bad news is that's kind of an uncertain lie in that mulch.
Yeah, there's nothing really good about that. You'd rather it be in the rough.
Frank, that ball's sitting up like it's on plush carpeting.
Rich, if you and I had lies like that every time, we'd still be playing this game for a living.
Birdie try up next. Frank going for another birdie here.
Just to get on a real roll.
Bang, bang, back-to-back birdies. Now set to tee off at the 6th. It is a long par 3, 250 yards.
We could take a little bit off for the downhill, but whichever way you look at it, it's still going to be a beefy par 3. Protected on the left by that front bunker, and if you sort of scoot one long, there's another bunker over there as well.
Frank, what happened there on the approach?
It was a poor decision, and let's see now. Got to think this one out a little bit better than that 2nd shot, see if he can get it up and down.
So he didn't hit the green in regulation, but he still has a reasonably good chance to save his par, about 10 feet away. This is a 9-footer. That had to really hurt, Frank, because it looked good all the way.
Well, this will test his mettle.
You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. Well, it was bound to come to an end at some point. Drops just 1 shot after that terrific stretch of birdies. Frank, there's a lot to chew on here as you get to the tee at the 532-yard par 5 7th.
In today's game, 530 plus change you'd think is incredibly short. And look at the trouble in front of you. Water all the way down the right side and around that right side of the green. Bunkers left. This is not for the faint of heart.
Now the game's #1 player, Rory McIlroy, ready with his approach. This is a good-looking shot. That is an excellent play right there. The approach, giving him another good look. These putts keep the round together. And with that putt, he moves to 3 under. Frank, in modern professional golf, we're seeing more and more drivable par 4s, like the 8 here at Quail Hollow, 350 yards. What do you think of this hole?
It's not a bad hole. Drivable, some might say, but the angle of the green means it's hard for that tee shot to keep on the green. But I think the reward for hitting a driver is try and sort of aim at that tree just left of the green. And the reason why is then you've got to pitch up the direction of the green. This is a really narrow green.
Coming out of the rough and right up next to the hole. And now he has this for the birdie. Really has a feel on these greens. That is another birdie. This is impressive. Here we are at the 9th hole at Quail Hollow, 495-yard par 4. Frank, it is the longest par 4 on the golf course. Is it, in your estimation, the toughest?
I think the green stops it from being the toughest, Rich, because it does kick in from either side. But when you see holes like this, there's no surprise why the Rory McIlroys and the Ricky Fowlers have won around here. This is just a great driving par 4.
Chance to close out the front side here with a birdie.
It's no snack, though. Great sense of speed in that. You know you can make those, but that one right in the middle.
Rich Lerner alongside Frank Novello for EA Sports, back at Quail Hollow, getting set to kick off the backside. And the 10th is a good par 5, Frank.
It certainly is. Hole bends a little to the left. There's the bunkering down that left side that you've got to keep slightly right of. Second shot plays ever so slightly downhill to a rather narrow green. And if anything, you want to favor that left side.
Oh, looked like you caught a flyer right there, Frank.
Well, I don't know what he caught, but this is way too much.
In the thick stuff.
Thick? That's brutal out there.
Birdie try up next. Frank, this would jumpstart the round. A 3rd straight birdie.
Some good playing.
Back-to-back birdies and 6 under par. Now to the par 4 11. Frank, what do you think of this hole?
It's an interesting hole, Rich, and I'm curious to see how aggressive players will play here today. The easy way, obviously, is just hit it down the right side and set up a nice second shot with a short iron. Or the most fun way is to take the big stick out and try and bite off as much of that corner as you choose. But be prepared to pay the price should it not come off.
Ball sitting down here in the rough. He's digging in. Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the green. Not terrible, but not his best.
Yeah, outside chance, really, for birdie, but really, it was a rather poor approach shot. It's amazing. Doesn't matter how close it goes. It's an extra shot. That one will definitely hurt.
Has this to save par. Routine stuff for Rory. That's a par. Par 4 12 here at Quail Hollow, 456 yards. Frank, break it down for us.
Well, there's no fairway bunkers either side, so you feel like there's nothing to work the ball off, and consequently, it's very easy to sneak it in the rough on the left or the right. And then that makes that second shot so much more difficult going up the hill. This is one hole that you have to pick a line on. You really have to know your line off the tee. There's a nice big tree down there in the distance. That's the one you want to work it off. I mean, this skill, and that was sublime.
Just good hands, coming out of the rough, able to manage the distance, and now in great position. Well, that would have been a bonus had it gone in, but still, reasonable chance for par here.
Yeah, there's no damage. You're not going to birdie every hole.
Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Now to the par 3 13th hole. Frank, this one 210 yards.
Very, very good par 3. This is actually a big green. It's 37 yards deep, but it actually plays small. There's a front right portion. There's a roll-off area in the middle, and there's a roll-off area in the back. So don't be deceived by the size of this green. You better be pitching that tee shot right bang in the middle.
Frank missed the green off the tee.
Yeah, but this is certainly a tricky little shot coming up here at the par 3.
And he's made the green. Locked in on the read and the speed. Well, you can see it there. Feels very good about what he's doing. That's a nice par putt. Stays at 6 under. Well, now we come to the really interesting 345-yard par 4 14th. Frank, I'm thinking that if you're leading, you're probably not going to try to drive this and take on the risk with the water on the left. But if you're behind, you have a chance to make up some ground.
Yeah, I have it written in my yardage book, Rich, on this hole. Only good and bad things happen with a driver. Nothing in between.
Frank, out of the rough, best to swing a little bit easier or get after it with all you have.
Well, a little bit in between. Obviously, it's going to require a little bit of strength to make sure that club keeps going through, but it's still the planning of the shot. Once again, check short. Is there anything I have to carry? And even remember, there's always the option of just simply pitching the ball down the fairway and taking your medicine.
How about 7 under par now? Now at the par 5, 15th hole, 577 yards. Frank, you remember what Rory McIlroy did here in 2010, that final round, 62?
I certainly do, Rich. That was an amazing run on the second 9. And holes like this, too. He just stood up here with a driver and just obliterated it down there with a nice draw. Took those bunkers out of play and just set up a mid-iron.
That one is bunker bound, it looks like. That one is in the bunker. All right, so greenside bunker. What's he looking to do with this shot, Frank?
Well, really you have to look at the amount of green you got to play with. You don't have to try and fly the ball right by the flag. Allow it to run. Plus, if you can get it to run like a putt, you never know. It might just go in.
On the green, and a chance for birdie. And in for birdie. This is the start of what some say is the toughest finishing stretch on the PGA Tour. It's known as the Green Mile. Frank, what makes it so challenging?
Well, this hole in particular, Rich, the dogleg right, means it plays every inch of it's just over 500 yards. That bunker you can see down the right, 325 yards to carry that. If you can fly the ball that far, at least you can chew off 2/3 of this hole, and that is well required here. Otherwise, it's a long, long second shot.
Frank, it's not about getting the ball close to the hole from that spot.
Well, he had no chance to get it close. I thought he had very, very, very little chance of getting it on the green. So, given that, that was a very good shot.
That's a birdie for McIlroy. He's just so explosive. Frank, this is all you want in a par 3, especially late in the round. You have to carry the water. You have to deal with the pressure. At 221 yards, this requires a player's very best.
On the process of elimination, don't go long, don't go left, don't go short, and right is marginal. It doesn't leave you with much.
So a chance for birdie after another solid approach shot. Frank, here's a chance for another birdie.
Oh, it's quite a run. Let's see if he can just make this one. Oh, another one goes in.
Now to the finishing hole here at Quail Hollow. Frank, what can we expect?
If there was a name for this hole, Rich, it should be called Narrows. The creek that meanders its way down the left side and actually divides that that hole into really half the size of what a normal par 4 should be. That makes it hard. The bunker on the right is your bailout area, just over 290 yards to get past that, and then the narrowest green that still sits up against the lake. This is just a brutal finish.
Wow, Frank, he is dialed in.
Yeah, that was just some shot on there. Easy birdie. Rich, I'm starting to lose count. This is just birdie after birdie.
It's all-time stuff. I mean, this is territory we just don't visit very often. Frank, that was an impressive round out there today.
Couldn't agree more, Rich. We've seen some great shots out there, and I'm excited to see how the rest of this tournament plays out.